Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we are taking a look at some awesome battles submitted by a member of the community featuring XL HYPERBEAM Malamar in the Ultra League Remix Cup. Now I have seen a few people try out the XL Malamar before, but I haven't seen one running HYPERBEAM yet, so I am very excited to check these battles out. Now the moveset that this battler is running is Psycho Cut is the fast move, HYPERBEAM of course, and then they opt for Super Power as the third. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and let's take a look at XL HYPERBEAM Malamar in action. Picking up a pretty neutral lead here versus Shadow Machamp. Don't really want to switch out here because you definitely do not want the Greedent lined up with the Shadow Machamp. Can survive a cross chop, just going to be hitting for neutral here, just farming up a bunch of energy. They save switch into Charizard. Oh my goodness, go for it. No way they shield this. Oh, that does huge damage. Switches into the Jellicent. Oh my goodness. And now you can just hex down. Charizard goes for the Dragon Claw. They should be able to reach a second here, and they are. Hex goes through so that Charizard will be dead after this Dragon Claw registers. That is absolutely massive. Malamar putting on the pain to that Charizard. And the opponent brings in a Venusaur, and this Ice Beam is going to be doing some big damage there. Ice Beam connects, putting the Venusaur into the yellow, and the Venusaur is going to have to shield here or they will be taken out. They do decide to shield. I like the pivot into Malamar here. The reason being, you have to bait back out the Machamp to align it with the Jellicent. Able to get the shield with the superpower, very nice, and now can bring in the Malamar. Able to sneak through a Hex as well, which is so nice. The opponent, they bait, calling the bait. What a call. That is absolutely insane. Shielding up the second cross chop, going to be able to get off the Shadow Ball. This, of course, will be taking out the Shadow Machamp, and from here, Greedent is going to be able to clean up shop in the back. XL Greedent is incredibly bulky. It can tank Frenzy Plants for days. First one, that just does a genuinely laughable amount of damage. No sense in using a shield if you don't have to. Able to survive it. Able to get to the Body Slam. This, of course, will be taking out the Venusaur, and that's going to be a good game. So right off the bat, landing the Hyper Beam with authority. Hopping into the next match. Oh, looks like this is another candidate for a Hyper Beam if I've ever seen one. We have Kanto Muck going straight for the Hyper Beam. Come on, please. Oh, that does huge damage to Kanto Muck. Oh my goodness, Kanto Muck, a famously tanky Pokemon, taking so much damage from the Hyper Beam, looking to commit to the farm down here. Shielding up, the opponent opting not to bait, going for the Dark Pulse, and able to farm down and leave with the Hyper Beam loaded. Will depend what comes in, and opting to go for the double superpower. I believe it was, a Machamp, the Shadow Machamp as well. So I like the play of going for the double superpower. That way you can get some guaranteed damage. So now the Machamp has taken some damage and able to align it with the Jellicent, and not a lot of people are running Payback, so can safely tank a Rock Slide. Just have to watch for the catch. They do not catch, which is very nice, and this Shadow Ball will be taking them out unless they decide to shield. They do shield up. Very, very interesting. Needing to get off more damage versus the Jellicent, so they may not have a great response to Jellicent in the back. They attempt to catch. They're a bit early. Is that an Infernape? Oh my goodness, the spice. They do not have a good Jellicent matchup in the back. So the opponent running Kanto Muck, double fighter with Blast Burn Infernape. What an absolute mad lad. What a cool team. Body Slam comes through. That takes out the Infernape. Shadow Machamp just cannot output enough damage. XL Greedent, too bulky. It tanks the cross chop from half health. Good grief. If you don't have an XL Greedent and you're over level 40, I highly recommend it. This thing is so good. Alright, hopping into the next match, we have Malamar into Pidgeot. Again, looks like a prime candidate for the Hyper Beam. Let's see, does the Pidgeot decide to respect it though? Going for the Hyper Beam. Can we get 3 for 3? No! Oh, we're not able to. That is unfortunate. I think you just call the Feather Dance here. Oh, beautifully done. Able to call the Feather Dance there and able to get to another Hyper Beam. Now this is debuff, so the Pidgeot does not have to shield it. but it still does a solid chunk of damage and was able to throw on the CMP tie, which is really nice. Feather Dance comes through, takes it out, and now can bring in the Greedent, and Greedent can safely overfarm to just shy of 2 body slams before throwing a body slam into the Pidgeot to take it out. Now Pidgeot, I was just about to say, is often paired with a counter user. Me personally, I run a Scavalier, but as you can see, here is the Shadow Machamp. Shadow Machamp can survive a body slam there, and Greedent, wanting to get to that second body slam, really try and trade shields in this particular situation since they're forced to shield up the cross chop from the Shadow Machamp. My guess is probably looking to trade shields, and then, not switching into the Jellicent, able to outpace. Greedent is insane. That body slam comes through, that takes him out, and now able to bring in the Jellicent. Would definitely like to have Bubble Beam here, but with Shadow Ball should still be a pretty nice matchup for the Jellicent, especially in a +1 shield situation. Opting to let the first one go, the Stunfisk does go straight Earthquake, and this makes it potentially a little tough, because now this Stunfisk has a decent opportunity to bait here, which they do. That's why I will often shield the first one. I find people are less likely to bait on the first one. To be fair, it could just be sample bias, but that's just what I've seen. They bring in the Greedent, try and snipe with the Machamp. Machamp gets bullet seeded down. Charge move coming through. This will be the Earthquake. Doesn't quite take it out. Can they get there? Yes, they get to the Shadow Ball. Oh my goodness. What an absolute... What an absolute heart racer of a match. Alright, hopping into the next match. We have Malamar into Gyarados. He can't throw superpower, so we know what time it is. Should be able to tank a crunch here if they go for it just fine. They actually go for the Aqua Tail instead, and now going for the Hyper Beam. Come on, please. And it lands huge damage to the Gyarados. Now going to shield this up, probably trying to Psycho Cut down and leave with energy to throw at the back line. Because as you can see, not running an ABB style team from what I'm seeing here, so switch advantage definitely important, and going for Hyper Beam number 2. Hyper Beam lands on the Nidoqueen and now aggressively switches into the Greedent. I like this play. You're able to preserve the Malamar as a potential sack swap for endgame, and you can see what they have in the back. And they have a Greedent of their own, and being in a mirror match at a health disadvantage and with a shield disadvantage can be rough. So this could get a little tough because Hex Jellicent really does not like to see Greedent. So probably can't commit a shield in this matchup because, yeah, you probably have to save the shield for your own Jellicent. Aggressively swapping into the Malamar, trying to get to a move, and able to burn some energy. That's very nice. Able to get some use out of the Malamar, and now going to come back in, but the opponent does a really nice catch. Recognizing that they're stuck in there, able to catch onto the Nidoqueen, but they end up shielding the Nidoqueen. So this actually works out pretty well, able to get shields down, do a lot of damage, and Nidoqueen surviving barely. If you're the Jellicent, you have to let this go. You have to save the shield for a potential crunch. Unfortunately, defense does get debuffed, and in comes the Greedent. You can survive one crunch here. So do you let the first one go in case they get the defense drop? And they do let it go, and the defense drop does go through. So a very important no shield. Unfortunately, all the bubbles were not hit on that Ice Beam. I'm not sure if that was lag or an undercharge. My guess is lag, and unfortunately just falls short of that second Ice Beam. So even without the lag, it looks like probably would not have been able to get the win. All right, hopping into the next match, we have Malamar into XL Galarian Stunfisk. Unfortunately, probably doesn't want to go for the Hyper Beam in this matchup. You just got to farm up. Superpower is a self-debuffing move, so you want to take damage before you throw it. Earthquake comes through, and the opponent switching in an XL Pidgeot. This is prime Hyper Beam time. The Hyper Beam connects. That does huge damage, and now able to get to the Superpower, and this should take out the Pidgeot if they don't decide to shield. Comes through, able to take out the Pidgeot. In comes the XL Galarian Stunfisk and aggressively switching into the Jellicent. Recognizing that the opponent is still switch locked in here because they switched into Pidgeot and able to take advantage of that and get some favorable alignment. And this way able to preserve the low health Malamar for a potential sack swap in the end game. The question is, do they bait here? Shielding up, they do not bait. Switch clock is up. They're able to switch into a Mandibuzz, but Mandibuzz will be hit by this Ice Beam. Unfortunately, Mandibuzz is too bulky. It can just tank it like it's absolutely nothing. He's recognizing the need to preserve the Jellicent here. Banking energy, gonna try and catch. Oh, tried to catch on the Malamar. The catch is unsuccessful, but able to reach a Superpower. Now, Superpower, able to get a shield. That's very nice, and now, not waiting out the clock, bringing in the XL Greedent right away. Now, this is a Dark Pulse Mandibuzz, so it is hitting harder. Able to sneak through a Bullet Seed, which is very nice, as taking out this Mandibuzz is definitely going to be a team effort. Just have to start spamming out these body slams. The Mandibuzz wisely saving the shield, tries to catch onto the Stunfisk. Very nice play. Unfortunately, he's able to read it and fire off the crunch here. Now, the switch clock is up, so he does have options. Now, the Stunfisk not quite able to get to the move. Throwing the crunch, gets the shield, and unfortunately can't really snipe there. Earthquake will hurt. That takes it out, and now bringing in the Jellicent, going for the undercharge. Now here you have to undercharge and farm down. Oh, this looks perfect. Able to farm down. Oh my goodness, gets to the Ice Beam. Is this enough to take out the Mandibuzz? And it is. What a play. What a play. I did not see the win con there. That was a perfect undercharge to get the win. All right, hopping into the next match, Shadow Machamp on the lead. They're throwing right away, going for the cross chop. And now the question is, do you go double superpower? The opponent save swaps into a Kanto Muck, going straight for the Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam connects, does big damage, and now bringing in the XL Greedent. Now Greedent can act like a damage sponge here. Thunder Punch, Dark Pulse, it genuinely does not matter. Ooh, very nice Overfarm. Unfortunately, Overfarm is a bit too much and will have to tank a second move. That Dark Pulse does do some significant damage. Well, significant damage by Greedent standards. Not a lot does actually significant damage to Greedent. Again, overfarming quite significantly. The Bullet Seeds are resisted non-stab, so you're not going to be able to Bullet Seed down the Muck. But the nice thing is, leaves with a ton of energy and able to get to the back-to-back body slams. If they're able to get both these off, that is huge, and they are. That is so nice. Able to apply a ton of pressure to this Machamp and able to get health advantage and shield advantage there. And now they have a Galarian Stunfisk in the back. So things are looking pretty good here. I like to switch into Malamar, basically make them waste their energy. At this point, Malamar won't do a whole lot versus the Machamp except get farmed down, so it's a very nice use of the Malamar there, switching it in and making them burn energy, so you have an even more commanding matchup with the Jellicent versus the Galarian Stunfisk. Unfortunately, did shield up the Rock Slide there, double shields, and they're both rock slides, and the opponent does a really nice catch there, catching the Shadow Ball on the Machamp, recognizing that it's all up to Stunfisk to win this game. But Stunfisk has a lot of work to do, needs to land 2 Earthquakes minimum, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to get there. First Earthquake coming through. That does do a solid chunk. This will be very close. Come on. Is this the Earthquake? Is this the Earthquake? It's just a Rock Slide. I had a feeling he was short, but only able to get to the Rock Slide. That does not KO. The Shadow Ball will, and that's going to be a good game. All right, hopping in the next match. We have Malamar into, whoa, a Pelipper. An XL Pelipper. That is not something you see every day. Going straight for the Hyper Beam. Let's see how much damage this does. Hyper Beam. Almost one-shots, and now switches into the damage sponge of Greedent to soak all this energy. They throw one, and they bring in an XL Skarmory. Are they running a Great League team XL'd into Ultra League? If so, that is a pretty cool theme team. Greedent able to sneak through the Bullet Seed as the Skarmory throws the move. Now this is a pretty poor matchup for Greedent, but Greedent can hold its own okay. It's definitely not great by any means, but Greedent can at least apply a decent amount of pressure with the crunches, because the Bullet Seeds double resisted are really not doing a lot, and the Skarmory throwing before they get to the next crunch. So this battler opting to shield up, trying to get shields down in this particular situation, or potentially to flip switch. Goes for the crunch, does get the shield, and oh, I thought the Greedent would go down, but he lives, able to get off the crunch. Greedent too bulky, and oh, it doesn't KO though, just not able to flip switch. Skarmory has so much energy here, and correctly shields the Brave Bird. Nicely done. But now, the question is, do we see that Pelipper come back in? We know it has energy. In comes a Pidgeot. And now the Pidgeot has to respect the Hyper Beam, building up for it and going for the superpower. I like this play quite a bit, going for the double superpower, so that way you're able to get some guaranteed chip damage on this Pidgeot. And Pidgeot should hopefully, oh, nice switch in with the Pelipper. So they bank a bunch of energy on the Pidgeot, they switch out, and now in comes the Jellicent to try and farm down. Now Pidgeot has easily enough for a Brave Bird loaded. Unfortunately, this Jellicent is out of Brave Bird range, so I guess we'll probably see the Feather Dance come through here. They're trying to lower that attack as much as possible, because I believe an Ice Beam is not going to be enough to KO here. Should get them into the red, and you're not going to be able to Hex down the normal type. So the question is, can Pidgeot get to the Brave Bird here? They do, and Jellicent goes down. So a very close game, very well played by the opponent. All right, hopping into the next match. All right, we have Malamar into Drapion. Now, come on, please. I would love to see an extra Hyper Beam here. I know you can go Superpower, but Hyper Beam, okay, he's going for it. Come on, come on. Please land it. Please land it. And the beam connects, doing big damage to the Drapion. Very few neutral moves hit Drapion that hard. It is so bulky. Able to get to the superpower and will be able to force a shield or win switch here. Superpower able to take the Drapion out, and XL Malamar able to win switch. They have Shadow Machamp, and winning switch is everything in this match. Able to align the Gengar with the Greedent, and the opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. So all in all, XL Malamar with Hyper Beam looks to be a ton of fun. To be fair, I haven't run the simulations as to whether it's preferable to run Hyper Beam or the other move, but either way, these were some incredibly fun battles, so thank you very much for the battle submission. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. Thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.